Today, we're gonna start standing first. And so everybody can stand. And we're gonna review a little bit of what we did last week. What we did last week, we were doing it laying down, but the principles of Pilates, you're still going to incorporate into your daily life. So when you're standing, thinking about that rib cage breathing, so breathing through your rib cage, expanding it out to the sides and back, and then exhaling and letting it come down. So just practice that breathing and standing. I know we did it laying down last week. Breath in through your nose, feel that umbrella open up or a jellyfish open up as those ribs expand out, and then exhale and let the ribs come back down. That's the breathing portion of it. We talked about axial elongation, elongating the spine, and you can feel that in standing. So if I push my feet into the floor and just think about 100 helium balloons, lifting my head up towards the ceiling, I'm getting that axial elongation, which we can do standing and horizontal. And then also that core stability through here. So I want to see if you can find that transverse abdominis we talked about last week. Just put your hands right inside your hip bones, and now with your lateral rib cage breathing, you're breathing in, exhaling, tightening right underneath your fingers there. So it's a little bit of tensioning. We're going to be pulling that core stability in as we move our arms off of this stable core. The other principle we talked about was alignment. So thinking about your head, shoulder, rib cage, pelvis all being aligned together. Our main focus today is going to be the shoulder girdle and the whole upper extremity. And I love the shoulder because it's just so mobile. It's great. It does amazing things. But because of that amazing movement we get in it, it's an unstable joint. So it really depends on the synergy of the muscles in this shoulder to give you stability through there and for the shoulder to function correctly. There's 24 muscles on that picture I showed you. There's 24 muscles that attach into your shoulder blade or your scapula. So there's a lot of things that have to be going right, and it's easy for things to go wrong. And one of the things that often happens in life, especially these days, we're on our computer, we're on our phone, and we're forward so much. So these front muscles, our pecs, and the anterior muscles tighten up and shorten, and the muscles in the back, they lengthen and weaken. And so we don't get a good position of our scapula, and that's really important for our shoulder to work. So when we're thinking about today, we're going to think about where those shoulder blades are living on my rib cage. And it's not military posture. So I don't want us going here because that's not functional. Sometimes with Pilates classes, they keep emphasizing, shoulder blades back and down, and we overdo this. It's really finding that resting place where they can live. So today we're going to sort of find that in standing and then take it down to exercises laying down. But let's just do a little awareness, movement awareness in standing. I want you to stand feet hip width apart, and I'm going to have you close your eyes for this for a second because I want you to feel where you're weight bearing so we can get our alignment, and then we'll get our shoulders set up. So I want you to think about on your foot, well, you can open your eyes for a second. You have 3 pods, base of the big toe, base of the little toe, middle of the heel. And I want you to feel pressure equally on those 3 points. So now you can close your eyes, feel those 3 points, and just move back and forth until you hit middle ground right there. So you're, and while you're closing your eyes is because you want to feel what's going on in your body and your feet. So are you more on the front of your foot, more on the back? Find that equal position on all 3 points on your foot. And you can even think about, if you have a flat foot like me, just lifting your arch a little bit. Take your attention to your knees now. And what are your knees doing? Are you hyper locked back? Are you way bent? You want soft knees so you're not hyperextended, but I'm not going to be in a bent knee position. So just relax your knees a little bit. We're going to go up to the pelvis. Last week we talked about that hand triangle with your thumbs and your forefingers together. thumbs on your belly button, 4 fingers on your pubic bone, and put those right there right now, and then feel around till you can get your 4 fingers and your thumbs in the same plane so that you are in a neutral spine position in your lumbar spine. Little bit of tiny arch in your back, okay? So that now we have our pelvis aligned. I want you to go up to your rib and feel what's happening at your ribs. Are your ribs sticking out, or are they centered over your pelvis that you just centered? Okay. So now we've got that part of our body sort of lined up. Also pay attention side to side. Are you weight bearing more through your right side or your left side? I usually go a lot on my right, and I have to tune my brain to go over a little bit more and take some weight bearing through my left side. We're going to go up into the shoulder girdle area. And so open your eyes now, because we're going to do just a setting exercise that's really easy to get my shoulder blades on my rib cage without arching my thoracic spine. So I get my bottom lined up. Now I'm going to put my hands together like I'm praying right in front of me. I'm going to bring my arms straight up overhead. Try this now. Turn your palms outward, and then bring your elbows down. My elbows are bent. Elbows come into my side and drop my arms down. So when I do that, I can feel that my scapula are living in a different place than when I was forward, okay? So try it again, palms together, reach up overhead, turn your palms outward, bend your elbows and bring those arms down, let them drop. So now my clavicle, the feeling of having my clavicles being wide open and my shoulder blades gently settled on my back without going into military posture. So that's getting that scapula in a good place. And the muscles we're using are the muscles between your shoulder blade, your middle and lower trapezius. They help keep your scapula here, and they're the opposers of those shoulders, those pec muscles that are rolling you forward. One other thing before we lay down and take this into some exercises on the ground is to feel, I want you to feel where your humeral head is. Okay, your humerus is this bone here, and it comes up and sits in a socket off your scapula. But even with setting my scapula, sometimes we have the tendency for this humeral head to live forward, and then our rotator cuff muscles can't work so well. So put your hand on that on that bone and feel the bony there, and then just see, can you move that bone away from your fingers? So we're trying to make the humeral head go backwards a little bit in the socket. And that's a better place for that humerus to live so the muscles can function there. Okay, so this is just a little recap of alignments and the Pilates principles. We're going to go down onto the ground now.
Gail, excuse me.
Yes.
Can you mute us all? I don't know how to mute me.
You don't know how to mute yourself.
Yeah, because every time somebody coughs or something, it's...
Yeah, let me, I thought I chose that. So mute my audio, question answered. I don't see that. I'm sure there's a place I can do it, but can everybody now just try and mute your own? Jamie, you can't do there. Down on the bottom there, you should see a picture of your microphone, and you can click it and say mute or unmute. I think in the beginning, I had to do it, and I didn't pick that.
Gail, you can also hit participants.
Yeah.
And then you see everyone.
Oh, I see. Okay. And now can I mute? Okay. I'm going to mute the people. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I see where it muted now.
Mute, 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 mute. Okay. I'm still on though, right? Okay. I think I have people muted. So back down onto our back. We're going to get in our neutral spine position. Use your hand triangle to find that position, okay, of our spine. And we're going to do just some arm arcs and feel the arms go overhead. So my tailbone's down. I'm in neutral spine position. I'm going to take a breath in, floating my arms overhead, and then exhale, palms come down. So feel how your scapula have to move with this. Breath in. As I'm doing that, my scapula are rotating upward, coming out to the side. Exhale and pull down. Nice, easy motion off of a stable trunk. What I want you to pay attention to is what's happening at your ribs. So when my arms go up, if my ribs start arching, I'm going too far. So I need to keep my ribs down and only bring my arms as far as I can without my back arching or my ribs popping up. One more. So just feeling that shoulder motion through there. Now I'm going to have you come and bring your arms to 90 degrees. So they're perpendicular to the ground. And we're going to do puppet arms. So here we're going to be finding one of our stabilizers, our main stabilizers of our scapula, your serratus anterior, which is underneath your armpit. It comes off the underside of the scapula and comes into the rib. But it's really important for your scapula stabilization. So when you're here in neutral spine position, elbows straight, reach your arms up towards the ceiling and let them just fall back down. So breath in, reach up. Exhale, come down. The motion's happening from underneath. I'm scooping my scapula up. My scapula come away from my spine. Breath in, reach up, and let them fall back down. You can even put your hand, let's do a single arm. Put your hand right underneath there. Feel that muscle come on as you reach your arm up towards the ceiling and come back down. And reach up towards the ceiling and come back down. You're going to do one and then the other. These muscles are going to come in when we get in a weight-bearing position. Okay, a few more. What's happening is the scapula is just coming away from your spine. Reach from your pinky finger as you're doing it. One more each side. Okay, so we got that scapula moving, organized off a nice stable base here. We're going to go into a prone position. We did this last time. If you need a pillow underneath your tummy because your back doesn't like this position, put a pillow underneath there. We're going to go to prone and we're going to do some trunk extension that we did the other day, but I want you to really focus on what the weight bearing through your arms. So my forehead's down to start out with. You can roll up a towel and put it right there. Hands about shoulder width apart. Breath in. After I take my breath in, or while I'm taking and I'm exhaling, I'm going to pull my navel towards my spine. So I'm stabilizing and using those core muscles in my lumbar area. So breath in, exhale, pull that navel to the spine, push your hands into the floor, lift your head, your gaze can go to the wall, your sternum is lifting across the room, push your elbows towards your feet. Come up to about your lowest rib cage. Feel that extension in your spine. Keep length in your spine. And then come back down, one vertebra at a time. Breath in. Exhale. Pull up the navel. Push into your hands. Lift your head. Have your gaze reach across the room. Reach the elbows to the toes. Put a little pressure through your hands. Feel the extension right about up to your lower rib cage. And then come back down. So we want this movement to be happening in your thoracic spine, not in your low back. As much as you can, we want to articulate. Breath in, exhale, abdominals on, lengthen your spine, reach your head across the room, tailbone away from head. I'm not shortening my spine, I'm lengthening it. As I come up into extension, feel the weight bearing through your elbows even, and then coming back down. Okay, so now we're going to be working on the muscles between your shoulder blades, those middle and lower traps that I talked about that help pull your shoulders back. So you can, if you're uncomfortable, lifting your head, you can just put a folded towel there. You don't necessarily have to lift your head if your neck's bothering you. Your arms are bent, elbows bent to 90, arms that just out towards your side. We're gonna take a breath in, exhale, pull your shoulder blades gently together, and then lift your arms up in the air. So my arms are just hovering above the ground, and I'm having to use these muscles here to hold my shoulder blades together. Now I'm gonna reach my arms out forward, and I'm only gonna go as far as I can without having my shoulders come up into my ears. So I keep a long neck, a lot of space between my shoulders and my ears. And then bring your arms down. So it's breath in, exhale, abdominals on, pull your scapula gently towards your spine, down into your back pockets. Float the arms up. Then reach your arms out as far as you can. If you get to a point and you feel your arms start shrugging up towards your ears, then you've got to stop. You're only going to go to where you can. And in the beginning, sometimes it might just be lifting your arms up without these upper trap coming on. You may not even extend your arms. I'm going to do a few more. Breath in, exhale, abdominals on, scapula sliding into your back pockets. Float the arms up. Feel those muscles in down between your shoulder blades working, but not that upper trap. Reach out, come back in, and down. One more. Breath in, exhale, abdominals on. I'm lifting my head, but you can keep it down. Float the arms up, scapula into your back pockets gently. Reach your arms out. Reach from your pinky across the room. Keep length in your spine. Good. Come back in and down. So with that, we're using the strength through here to have a stable base to reach without my shoulder lifting up into my ear. From there, we're going to go into the swimming exercise, which is going to be to lift an opposite arm and leg. But first, let's just feel what it feels like to lift an extended arm. If you're uncomfortable and your arm can't stay out here, you're going to do it with your arms more towards here. But again, you can use your towel, forehead down, breath in, exhale, and I'm going to just float one leg up and one arm up, using the muscles right between my shoulder blades. And then lower it down and lift the right up. Just see, can you lift without bringing your shoulder toward your ear? Okay, so now we're going to have combination, alternate arm and leg raise. So breath in, exhale, pull in your abdominals, lengthen your spine, opposite arm and leg raise. So I'm just floating my opposite arm and leg up off that stable base. I've got to keep my belly pulled away from the mat so I have a nice strong core. Keep length through my spine as I reach and alternate. Breathing, remember, as I breathe, I'm breathing into my lateral rib cage, into my back of my rib cage, and I'm just floating and lengthening the opposite arm and leg off my spine. Think about that motion initiating the lift, initiating from your core and from your middle and lower trapezius. One more each side. Good. Okay, now everybody probably wants to come back and go into a nice child's pose stretch. When you're here, you can have your legs separated apart. You can have them closer together. You want to think about really stretching out right and through here and your low back area there. Okay, we're going to go up through weight bearing into a quadruped position. And I think we did this last week too. So a few things we're thinking about are hands, and this is where in the beginning, everybody may not have been on. If you have wrist issues and you're uncomfortable in that 90-degree angle, you can be on your fist. You can, if you have some weights, sometimes coming onto the weights and being more in this position, so I'm not quite at a 90 degrees angle, or a folded towel this way. So different options you can do, but sometimes the fist position isn't real comfortable for too long. But once I'm here, I'm thinking about hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and I want you to explore weight bearing through the arm and really getting that those scapula muscles set. That muscle, the serratus anterior that we were talking about before, what it does is it pulls and broadens the back there. And you're gonna feel it by pushing your pinkies away from each other. So in this position, I'm in my neutral spine position. Think about the hand triangle on your belly. Lengthen your head away from your tailbone. And now push your fingers into the ground. And just feel the connection between your lateral side of your hand all the way up your arms to your armpit and your scapula. I have a nice broad back. I don't want to see my shoulder blades scrunching together. Now we're going to just do some shifting onto your right hand, lift your left. And what you want to feel are those stabilizers coming in as you shift. We're just going to do some arm lifts first, and then we'll add the leg in. Because I want you to feel that weight bearing through up into your scapula area. So back and forth, just shift one more time. Push your pinkies away, stabilize through the shoulder girdle as you lift your arm. So a nice broad back. Shift on to the left, pinkies pushing away, reaching my arm. Now we're going to go into opposite arm and leg raise. Again, reset, feel where your neutral spine is, lengthen your spine with that axial elongation, breath in, exhale, opposite arm and leg. They're reaching off that stable base, hold there. It's a little bit more work through that shoulder blade to hold that position. Switch, and as I switch, I'm trying not to shift my body too much. Push into the floor, feel the ground reaction of the floor through your hand and your opposite knee and hip. Hold there and switch. Reaching away, lengthening off of that stable base. Just like you have a core in your lower abdominal area we talked about, your scapula stabilizers are the core for your head, neck, and shoulders. Good. Just going to do one more on each side. Push your hand into the floor. Feel the connection between the floor all the way up into that stable scapula. And one more. Reach. Okay, you can go down, do a spine, nice child's pose. And we're going to come up and do a couple of plank versions. First plank version, we're going to be on our forearms. We'll give our wrists a little break. So depending on the strength in your core and how your back feels, you can do a plank on your knees. You can go up into a plank on your toes. What I want you to feel on this one, when you're doing a plank on your forearms, it's a lot more of your trunk. When we go up into the plank on our extended arms, it's going to be more of scapula stabilization. So here, breath in, exhale, push your pinkies, push your elbows, towards your toes and lift up your pelvis. I want to think that I have a straight line and I'm not arched up, I'm not sagged down. My elbows are reaching towards my toes. I'm going to hold there another few seconds. Nice broad back and come on down. So breath in, exhale, pull up the abdominals, elongate the spine, push into your hands, push into your elbows, reach your elbows towards your toes, pull up that belly button, hold there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come down. We're going to do one more. Breath in, exhale, lengthen my spine, pull up my abdominals, push into my arms, elbows reaching towards my toes, holding there, and coming down. Okay, I'm going to have you come up onto your knees, and we're going to go into a plank position. And again, we won't hold too long because of our wrists. But a plank on your extended arm is going to be really much more of you having to work through that scapula area. Still using a lot of my abdominals, but my shoulder blades are going to have to work more. So I'm on my hands and knees, okay? Hands underneath your shoulders. I want you to also pay attention what's happening at your elbow. Are you locking out? Just like your knees lock out, your elbows can lock out. So you've got to think of a little softness in your elbows, not locking them out. Extend one leg out, lengthen your spine, extend the other leg out, okay? And now just hold, push your pinkies away from each other, lengthen your spine, take one breath in, exhale, and come down. So feel the difference doing the plank on the forearm. You can come back and stretch a little bit. We're going to do a couple more of those, as opposed to on your extended arms. So again, breath in, exhale, extend one leg out, second leg out, reach your pinkies away, make that broad back area. Now, if you're feeling pretty good here, you can do some leg pulls. So you're just going to lift one leg up and back down. If this doesn't feel good, you're going to be on your knees doing this, not on your toes doing it. And switch. One more each side. Reach out and reach out. So that's a lot of core stabilization, but a lot of scapula stabilization and organization. So back into your child's pose. Stretch out, let your wrist relax. Do a few circles with your wrist there. And we're going to go on to our sides now and explore weight bearing through this shoulder blade in this side position here. You can have your knees bent. You can have your top one straight if you want, but I want you to let your bottom ribs just reach down towards the ground and feel what happens in your shoulder blade. When that happens, my shoulder blade sort of comes up towards my ear, and that's okay. But what I want you to feel is that you're going to put some weight bearing through that elbow and push up. Let the top ribs be pulled up towards the ceiling. Get that stabilization through my head, neck, shoulders. I haven't paid enough attention with you guys to where your head is lined up, but I want my ear over my shoulder, not forward or back. And then I'm going to let my ribs sink down. Bottom ribs are sinking down. Shoulder blades sort of relaxing. I'm going to take a breath in. Exhale. Reach my top ribs up. Push through the elbow. Get the scapula going down into the small of the back. Head reaching away from the tailbone. And one more time. Come down. Scapula's coming up towards my ear. That's not a stable position. Where you're going to feel the stability as you push into your elbow, extend, lift the ribs up. Feel the connection between the ribs, scapula, and your pelvis. Now, extend your top leg. And in this position, we're just going to do some leg pulls. So you're just going to bring with your toes pointed. The leg comes forward, and now reach back. We did these the other day, but when we were doing them the other day, we were down on our ribs. Here, you're having to organize your upper body, keep that scapula stable, keep a length between your neck and your shoulder blade, and work on differentiating your hip from your pelvis. So this is a lot of movement integration, stabilizing at the top, length through my spine, keeping myself stacked here, and moving at the hip. One more. So we're just combining some movements off of that stable shoulder and down. So let's go to the other side. And for me, you may find one, and this is your movement exploration, one side being stronger and more stable than the other. I'm so right hand dominant that my left side is not my stable side. So I'm going to get here, bottom leg's bent, top leg can be straight. We're going to explore that movement of the rib cage off of the shoulder blade. Elbows underneath the shoulder, palm down. Let your ribs, bottom ribs sag to the floor. Your scapula sort of lifts up towards your ear. And now push that elbow into the ground. Feel the scapula slide towards the small of your back and your ribs lift up. And come down. Scapula is not in a stable position here. I want you to push through your elbow as you raise up your ribs. Push through your elbow. Feel those muscles pulling your shoulder blade into a nice stable position. Length through your head. Long distance between your ear and shoulder. One more time, going down. Ribs, bottom ribs go towards the floor. Breath in. Exhale. Lift the top ribs. Lengthen through your head. Feel your scapula go into the small of your back. So now off of this position, you've got your nice stable base here. You're gonna lift your leg and you're gonna sweep it forward and then pull the toes towards the nose as you come back. Breathe in, going forward, exhale, pull back. Pay attention. For me, my left shoulder starts getting weak and I start falling down into it. So push through that elbow. Feel the connection of the floor into your shoulder and shoulder blade. As I start getting a little bit of shaky here through my left support. One more, forward and pull back. Good. Okay, a couple more things. Well, we're there. Let's get into a side plank position. And just do, and you can do side plank either on your knees, so I stay on my knees and lift my waist up, or you can go out onto your legs, okay? This is the easier version. I'm gonna do the easier version here. I'm gonna push up into a side plank. I've got my nice stable shoulder there, and now we're gonna explore some rotation of my rib cage around that stable scapula. Exhaling, reaching like I'm threading a needle underneath my left shoulder or left arm. Thinking length through my spine, rotation, axial rotation in my thorax. Again, just exploring how stable I can stay through my shoulder blade as I rotate my trunk. Okay, we didn't do that on the other side, so let's do that. Onto your other side, elbow underneath your shoulder. Again, choose your side plank. This one I'll do with my legs out all the way, but if this is your more comfortable and stable position, you're gonna stay here, okay? So we're gonna come out, side plank, lengthen my head, get it lined up, and now we're gonna do 3 rotations underneath the arm and back up. Much harder for me in this leg extended position, but my right shoulder is my stronger shoulder and can stabilize me as I rotate here. One more there. One more for good luck. But trying to keep that organization through my shoulder as I'm rotating. So come back, little bit of child's pose stretch. Reach those arms out. Couple of breaths. This is a nice place to really feel that expansion of the rib cage into the sides and back. One more breath. So let's come on up to standing, because what I want to do is review that standing posture and where my shoulder and my body is going to be living throughout the day. And my challenge to you is to, for the next week, really pay attention to your posture, where you're standing, and where your shoulder blades are. Because again, where that scapula is living and your head, chest, neck are, is really going to help with the strength and the stability of your shoulder and to avoid shoulder problems down the road. So you're going to pick some cues. Every time, right now as I'm talking, I want you to organize yourself and feel where you are, and I'll take you through the steps in a minute. But what I want you to do is every time, set some cues. Every time the phone rings, a commercial comes on, you're doing the dishes, that's your cue to say, okay, I'm going to get in my correct posture and hold it. Because your body's going to go into the path of least resistance. It's going to go to where it feels is normal. And if I've been going through life, here, well, this is normal. When I get into my correct posture, it's not going to feel normal. But posture is a habit, just like anything else, and it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to really change that habit, but it takes awareness during those 6 to 8 weeks. So you're going to take these 6 weeks and work on cues. Set your cell phone to ring every 2 hours to say, oh, hey, I'm going to get in my correct posture. And what that's going to look like, again, equal weight on both feet. You're going to get your tripod set, base of the big toe, base of the little toe, middle of the heel. Feel what's happening at your knees. Unlock them if they're locked. Soft knees, but not bent. I feel like my kneecaps are being pulled up a little, but they're not hyperextended. Equal weight on both sides. I have to shift a little bit more weight to my left side. Do a quick check on your pelvic position using your hand triangle. Get that set. See where your ribs are, shoulders, head over your shoulders, length through your spine. And for me, sometimes I'll do my arms up to set my scapula. In the beginning, that's a good way to just get those scapula like they're hanging on your thoracic rib cage and really opening your clavicles, arms at your side, length. Feel the length through your spine. Now that's a long way to do it. As you practice throughout the week, you're going to just be quicker of getting there. It could be just lifting, bringing those shoulders back, nice open clavicles, and then pay a little attention to that that humeral head position. It's pretty subtle, but I think if you work on it, you can get that humeral head pulled back too. So next week,